All right, guys, what's up? This is your girl Ashley Wells. Guess what? Coming at you with another topic request. Guys, I appreciate these so much. So thank you. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And again, my channel is for everybody. It doesn't matter what your background is. I mess with yous if you mess with me's. But my thing is, I mess with everybody's regardless, period. So, the thing is, I appreciate this because the guy who submitted this topic request, he wasn't sure if, because of my background, if I would accept the topic. And I'm like, honey, all is welcome on my channel. So, by all means, I don't care if you're a man, I don't care if you're a woman, I don't care what your background is. Bring them. I was post them. Bring them. All right, guys. So this guy, really sweet guy. I got to chat with him a little bit, and that's another thing about my topics, guys. So whenever topic requests are submitted, everything is strictly confidential. I don't mention your name, your location. I keep it just this person. Well, I will say the sex of the individual, so my viewers can get a better understanding of the situation. Of course, yes, but I don't give out names or details of the parties and nothing like that. Strictly confidential. So, all right. So I got a wonderful guy here. He submitted this one because he literally was like, "Listen, I just want to know if I'm the only one out there that feels this type of way." So his thing was, guys, he's not a big fan of dating any women who have their exes tattoos, exes names or portraits or anything like that tattooed on their bodies. It doesn't matter where it's at. Even if it's in a like very tiny or in a small location, he doesn't care. He's like, look, I'm sorry. I would admit, I'm just not a big fan of it. But hey, I want to know if there's other people who feel that way because he stated he has dated two women lately, and sure enough, they had their exes' names tattooed. Now, one particular guy, sorry, one lady had the ex's name tattooed on her, and then the other one had the portrait of the ex tattooed on her. Now, the one thing about the portrait was the guy unfortunately had passed away. So she gave, a memorial tattoo on her body. And this is the thing, they were together, unfortunately, when the poor guy passed away. So that's why she did it, because it was, And he was like, I truly understand that story. I truly get it. Things happen, and sometimes, unfortunately, they happen in terrible circumstances. But he was like, I just cannot wrap my mind around it. So he's like, me in particular, the only thing I have tattooed on me is my kids' horoscope symbols on my body. He's like, I don't have nobody, no woman, no one's name or anything like that tattooed on my body. And he was like, listen, I just want to know if this is a thing. And he even went out and asked me personally, as with me being who I am, would this be an issue for me, with my community as well with me personally? Um, Unless that I know of. I have not dated anyone who had exes, names, or symbols or anything like that tattooed on them, at least that I know of. If they did, they just didn't tell me what they were. But at the same time, every woman I've dated actually, they pretty much didn't have tattoos, or if they did have tattoos, they were very minimum. Like one, maybe two, and they were tattoos of. I'm trying to think. This has been so long. Like literally, like the horoscope, symbols or something like that. It was tattoos of that. It wasn't tattoos of names or anything like that. And literally, I haven't even dated a woman with tattoos. The one I'm trying to think. Listen, I gotta go back in my books here. Yeah, they were very minimal, small tattoos. One had the horoscope tattoo in the back of her shoulder, and then that was it. That was it. Now me personally, would I date a woman with an X on her? I don't know. I guess it probably would, given the circumstances, if I knew the background of that ex and the reason for the tattoo and things like that. Because, like you said, things happen. Unfortunately, some people have untimely passings, and it happens during the fruitful time of the relationship. So some people mourn their own kind of way. So it definitely had to depend. Now, as for is this an issue even within my community? To be truly honest, I have never heard of anyone mention this or had issues with it. Not saying it is or it isn't, but I just never heard anyone mention this before. To be truly honest, this is very new for me. Um, but I'm pretty sure everyone has their own quirks, and from my experience of seeing a lot of people's turn-ons and turn-offs as of late, I wouldn't be surprised. This is maybe one of those things that hasn't been verbalized, with them possibly. But I get it though. I definitely get it. I personally would not knock my viewer for saying, "Hey, you're weird for this." No, because everybody has the right to have their certain quirks. You know what I'm saying? And I get it, I understand it. And then too, with my viewer, what he was saying was, it's not an ego thing with me. It's not an issue where my confidence is screwed. It's just the thing is that that's a life thing, and he always questioned on why do individuals not get things like that, removed, especially because for how he said the one girl who had the tattoo name on her, she did not want to get it removed, and that was his thing. He was like, "Well, you're not with this person no more. You guys don't have nothing to say with each other, so why would you not want the tattoo removed and move on?" That actually is a good question. From what I've been told and heard, tattoo removal is actually more painful than getting the tattoo itself. So maybe that might be the thing. Maybe it's just, and it's very expensive too. It's not a cheap process. So maybe that's something she's looking into. But now I know a lot of us would be like, well, what about a cover up? Why did she not invest into a cover up? Again, that's probably something you probably got to talk to her about. Everybody has their reasons. Again, that's something that I've never encountered. I did date a girl once. She had a really bad tattoo on the back of her back area. Like, it was really bad. She got hustled. Um, and I asked her, like, did she ever think about getting, at least if not removed, at least getting a cover up for it? And she was like, "Well, it's in the back, so I don't at this point. I don't really care about it, and no one can really see it because she doesn't, go topless that often or whatnot." So that was her reason. It was just out of sight, out of mind type thing. So, but I get it. I don't know. I mean, that's a really good question for me if I would date someone who had an ex. I probably have to go with the background situation of the ex, and the reason for the tattoo. I probably will look into that first, and then just kind of make that assumption as we go. But you guys tell me, like, is dating someone, would that be a red flag for you if you came across someone and they had exes, names tattooed on them and whatnot? Is that a hell no for you, or are you the type where you're like, hey, I got some too, I don't care, or just in general, like, I don't mind it, as long as it's clear that that person is in the past. I don't know, you guys, let me know and tell me if this is an issue for you now. But as for my viewer, thank you so much for sharing. I definitely get it though. I definitely, and I'm pretty sure you're not alone with feeling this way because, as I've said in my other vlog, which it hasn't dropped yet, but it was men versus women with what the top turnoffs was, and believe it or not, you know, a little bit of this was an issue where a lot of guys voted that they had an issue with women who had chest tattoos. So if they, a lot of guys are speaking out saying they're not attracted to women with chest tattoos. I can only imagine how they would feel with women who had X tattoos, X names, on them and everything. So it's, you probably most likely are not alone out there. All right, guys, to the next one.